Hey everyone, welcome back. So it's Friday. It's been a rough week for everybody, for the markets, for the Bitcoin, for pretty much everybody along the way. So we'll take a look at the markets, see what's going on there. Obviously, they were down today. Bitcoin was down. It did rebound a little bit today as well. We'll take a look at Ethereum as well. Then we have the miners to take a look at, see how they did. They were down for the day for the most part. I think there was only one that was up today. Then we'll take a look at Soluna. They finally provided their August update for, obviously, August. So we'll take a look at that. And also we'll take a look at the miner versus miner, see where they actually ended up at after getting all the data for them. And then we'll also take a look at a story from Iris Energy. They are getting a 100 million equity deal. So they're going to be diluting some shares there, it looks like. And then we also are going to take a look at compensation versus revenue. So we're looking at basically how much they're paying themselves, within revenue. So who's most efficient at paying themselves, or who's paying the most to themselves, who's paying the least. We'll take a look at that. So that is it. And you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. It took me a couple hours to put all this stuff together today, so it would mean a lot to me if you guys could hit the like button, subscribe. It would help out the channel, obviously, to grow as well. So let's get into the numbers here. So the S&P 500 was down 1.72%. Dow Jones was down 1.62%. NASDAQ was down 1.8%. And I think we're reaching the new lows as far as the 52 weeks. So I think we reached new lows this year on the markets for the most part. I think only the S&P has bounced back up a little bit. And then we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at 19,291 right now. You can see here on the daily chart that we went down quite a bit here. We went all the way down to a low of 18,529. And that was basically almost to where we were yesterday on the low. But we did bounce right back up towards the end of the day. If you look at the 1 hour chart, you can see here that we bottomed out and then we came back up. Now, looking at the RSI here, we are at 60. Last time we were at this point was right around here. Price was higher, so we're still a little bit lower on it, but it's not as bad as it has been in the past. So we may be seeing a little bit of a sign of a reversal sign happening right now in Bitcoin. Take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is at 1,328. RSI is at 57 right now. Last time we were right around here, and we're getting pretty close to that number as well, the previous number where we were at with Ethereum. So this could be also a partial reversal sign in the trend where we actually get the price going up and the RSI staying either flat or going down, which would be a good sign, a little bit more of a bullish sign than it has been in the last couple of days. We talked about it yesterday. I said we might be coming down a little bit more, which we have, and hopefully this is the reversal that we've been looking for. All right, so let's take a look at the miners here. Annie was down 8.3% today to 49 cents. Argo was down 10% to 36 cents. Bit Digital was down 3.23% to $1.20. Bitfarms was down 2.73% to $1.07. CleanSpark was down 1.58% to $3.11. Cores was down 4.67% to $1.43. DigiHost was down 5.88% to 72 cents. DMG was down 5.57% to 18, almost 19 cents. Greenidge was down 3.48% to $1.94. Hive was down 5.54% to $3.75. Hut was down 6.11% to $1.69. Iris Energy was down 9.16% to $3.67. It was down more than that. It actually ended up a little bit higher, but obviously the news from them, the 100 million equity round, did not help today. And then we got Luxfolio was down 15.35% to 5 cents. They have obviously been beaten down really hard here. Marathon was down 9.98% to $9.47. And this could be obviously based on the new story that we covered yesterday with Compute North filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This obviously might have spoken to some investors, and I think they got also downgraded by one of the analysts that's covering them. Mawson is down 6.88% to 54 cents, and Riot was down 0.16% to $6.33. It obviously came back up here towards the end of the day a little bit. And Soluna was down 10.71% to $1.50, and Stronghold was the only one that was up 0.92% to $1.10. So there's the miners there. And let's take a look at our first story here, which is Iris Energy. So they're signing a 100 million equity deal with B. Riley. So they signed a deal to sell up to 100 million in equity to investment bank B. Riley over the next 2 years. This is obviously the second big investment in the industry. They also invested in Cores. back in, I believe it was July. Publicly traded Bitcoin miners have seen their stock prices tumble this year as the price of Bitcoin has slumped by as much as 60% and energy costs soar, which is all true, unfortunately. We are in the market that we are right now. Hopefully that can turn around in the next 6, 9, 12 months. I'm guessing somewhere around there, possibly when we're done fighting inflation. But nonetheless, B. Riley may buy up to 25 million of Iris Energy ordinary shares in the next 24 months, starting Friday. That was obviously according to the filing. And if the bank chooses to buy all those shares for 100 million, it would have a 31% stake in the miner, the filing said. So I'm not sure if this is actual dilution as they're buying regular shares of it. So that's kind of interesting there. Iris Energy issued B. Riley 198,174 ordinary shares as consideration for B. Riley's commitment, which are included in the total. All right. So we've obviously seen Iris Energy stock go down today. Obviously not a good sign. We can take a look at their balance sheet, see how they are looking right now. Let's see here. Minor comparison. Iris Energy, I mean, their balance sheet isn't too bad, and this is in Australian dollars. So we can see here the assets is 553 Australian. This probably should be Australian dollars, I'm guessing. Or it could be. I could have converted it over. No, I did convert it over to USD. So it's 553 million in USD. The total current assets is 237. Current assets is 237 Australian dollars. Total liabilities is 126 Australian dollars. And total liabilities is 219 million Australian dollars. So, I mean, they're okay. I think they're just trying to get possibly cash to grow their hash rate going forward, possibly. We'll have to see, obviously, if that's the case. They didn't provide much more after that. So that's Iris Energy there. Let's take a look at Soluna Holdings really quick. So Soluna Holdings provided their August update. They always go into real deep dive on this. They provide a lot of information. We'll take a look at this, not the spreadsheet, but the presentation that they have for this, and we'll use those numbers in there. So a key summary is BTC production increases despite volatile market. I think that's a combination of their own mining and hosting. So BTC equivalent mined increased by 6%, while BTC prices increased about 4% from July to August. Peak hash rate remained above 1 exahash. They provided us with a lower number for average hash rate, but that might be the combination of the two. I'm not sure what they mean by peak hash rate remained. And then cash contribution margins remain healthy, 20% consolidated cash contribution margins despite low BTC environment and high energy cost. 26% cash contribution prop mining margins slightly offset by weaker hosting margins. And then the 10 megawatt hosting agreement at Marie renewed with the key new terms. Contract has been restructured to be more responsive to energy fluctuations, and anticipated hosting margins with new contracts expected to increase. So they're obviously for the hosting part of it. And we've seen this across the board, that the hosting is not as profitable as it would appear, at least for the most part across the miners. And then we have the revenue here of possibly for August of total revenue, which is 2.4 million, which is their hosting and their self-mining as well. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet or the presentation that they provided here. I'm looking at the consolidated Soluna Computing non-GAAP historical finances. So prop mining, which is their basically self-mining, is at 1.9 million. Let's see here. That was that. Average megawatt deployed. Nope, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for average hash rate. Actually, let's see here. Prop mining. There we go. Prop mining is over here at 606. So that's a decrease of a little bit from July of 612. It looks like. And so that's 606 for August. Average BTC, there we go. How much they mined? They mined 86.84. So that is a little bit of a decrease from their self-mining back in July. But they did increase their hosting, which they're using the BTC equivalent mined would be 109 right now. So that is a little bit of an increase, thanks to hosting, obviously. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them, and then we'll get into the miners versus miners part of it, and we'll take a look at the compensation for the miners as well. So here's what we have. 86.4 BTC mined. That equates to about 1.942 million. Their efficiency is really good here on this. And the reason for that is if you're not installing new machines, the average or the overall time that you're mining with that same hash rate improves your BTC per petahash efficiency. So if you're at, like they are right now, around 606 petahash, if you stay the same way for the whole month, you're going to be mining more efficiently than if you add a bunch of miners. So if they grew to another 300 petahash, that BTC per petahash equivalency would be down because you're installing miners while you're not generating the amount that you would normally by the time you get to the end of the month. I hope that makes sense. So that's actually why they're up here, and I think they came in at number 1 here for the month of August from all the miners based on that. So that's where we have them right now. It is obviously a little bit of a decrease from the prior month. Obviously, none of the miners got installed, but they also did report... Ooh, I forgot to show you guys this. This was... Where did I see this? They sold off, it looks like, their GPU miners. Yep, so the sale of GPU miners here at Edith facility closed in September, valuing the assets at $790,000, it looks like. $500 up front, $290 in the forms of promissory notes due in March 2023, which will pay 20% annualized interest on a monthly basis. So they sold their GPU miners, it looks like. So that's going to be going out the window, I'm guessing. Okay, looking back here on the numbers and July, August. So July we had them making about 261,000 in Litecoin, Dogecoin mining. Based on that, they actually went down a little bit in hash rate. They were pretty much, it looks like, mining for the whole month, possibly less. Not sure how much they were mining, but I did give them about 72,000 for Litecoin, Dogecoin mining for the month, just to get them to the 1.942 million down here. So that's where we're coming at, and then we'll have to see, obviously, how that goes forward. And that is it for the numbers there. Now, institutions stay the same. We still don't have a analyst target as far as price for a high, average, or low. So that's stayed the same at 0 as well. And looking at where they are right now, they also did provide us, I don't have them, so let me explain this. So they are trying to get to, I'm jumping all over the place here, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get all the information out to you guys that I know of. So they are planning to be at approximately 2.6 exahash by the end of Q4, looks like. That includes, obviously, their hosting and their own mining. So their own mining is going to be at approximately 2.33 exahash by the time everything's said and done. These are the numbers that I was able to find when I was doing the research on them. I'm still missing about 1.6 exahash, so I'm not sure where they're going to get that from. But they are saying that they want to get to 2.3, so I'm giving them the benefit of doubt here just to get them to that number here, so we at least have something to look forward when it comes to their future hash rate. So current hash rate is about 606. They are about 26% operational right now. Future hash rate, like we said, 2.3 exahash. So hash rate growth about 281%. And looking at the numbers that we have right now, we're looking at the last 3 quarters and possibly the current quarter here of about 7 point. That was already reported, so that should be actually updated here. Let me see, do I have December? Yep. So I should be using different numbers here. Let's see here if I have the same numbers. So we're using the last 3 quarters. This one should be updated to the number here, which would be possibly July, August, September, it looks like. Quarter, which we're actually looking at this one. So copy that. Okay, so we're looking at about possibly 5 million in this current quarter that we're in. So that's looking at a total of approximately, what are we looking at? Combined is 26 million in revenue approximately. Now, obviously, 50% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at with a P of 20, which is pretty high right now based on where Bitcoin is at. We're looking at $10.17. If we're using 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $15.26. The stock is at $1.47. I think based on their growth and where they are right now, a realistic number we could be looking at is maybe a PE of 10, so maybe $5 to $7.63, somewhere around there. But it also depends on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin goes up 35, 40, 50,000, well, then we could be looking at obviously a little bit higher here on the prices. As we know that the miners obviously do bounce back really fast when Bitcoin starts going back up. That is, I believe, it. Obviously, no BTC HODL. They sell pretty much everything that they make. And I believe I covered everything here. So not an impressive month for them. They at least stayed. They improved a little bit on the BTC equivalent mining. But other than that, they stayed pretty much flat with their own mining, which we want to see, obviously, that grow a little bit more. And they are obviously building out. They do have, 4 or 5 facilities that they're building out. So that is it for them. Let's take a look at where they actually came in at with the rest of the miners here. So the metrics here are, as usual, month-over-month hash rate growth, percentage growth. Year-to-date hash rate growth is also percentage-wise. And then we have year-to-date hash rate growth added, which is actual petahashes or exahashes that were added. And then we have the BTC per petahash. So they came in at number 1 on that. Current ratio, we've covered that before. That's their numbers that were provided to us from their quarterly results. Back in June, they came in at number 15 spot on that. But in the other ones, they came in at the 12th spot here. Growth-wise, came in at 7th spot. And hash rate year-to-date, they came in at the 13th spot right now. And then something that we're going to get into here in a little bit is obviously the compensation revenue. So a question for you guys, should I include this also in with the 7 metrics that we use now that include the current ratio, the debt to equity ratio, if we should add that in there to also, kind of grade the miners on that and see where they would actually end up on that. So, but we'll get into that. Okay, so we have all that information covered. So now looking at the actual chart here, we'll scroll down here. We'll take a look at the numbers where they came in at, and it didn't change much for them. Reported 7 metrics miners include current ratio and debt to equity ratio. So Soluna actually got a little bit better score here, 68. So they're pretty much tied with DMG Marathon and themselves. They're tied. That would be for which spot would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4. These two are tied for 3rd spot, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So tied for the 10th spot, looks like. Right now on the 7 metrics. If we look at the 5 metrics, they came in at, where are they? Soluna. So they are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th spot on the 5 metrics that we're using here. So obviously a big improvement from where they were. They were the last 2 here. Obviously, since they didn't provide the numbers, they ended up in the last 2. But so nonetheless, that's kind of the middle of the range here for them as far as performance goes, and growth, and everything else. All right, so that's Soluna right there in a nutshell, combined with everybody else here. Oh, one other thing. I did make a mistake here on the numbers. And, there's so many numbers I'm tracking, sometimes I might miss something. And when I do miss it, I will correct it, and I will let you guys know. So I did miss, what did I miss here? It was the year-to-date, was it this one? No, future hash rate. Where's the future hash rate? Compensation growth left. There we go. So on this, I had some old numbers that weren't being updated from the August updates. So I've corrected that since to actually point out where they are right now and where they're growing. And that has had an impact on some of the miners here. We can see, I believe I should have pulled up the chart from the old one to kind of compare it against. But we had CleanSpark in a little bit higher spot here. Some of the other ones were also in different spots. So this is 7 metrics here. So there are some differences in it here. You can take a look at it right now. Along with the 5 metrics, we have seen a couple places being switched around here. Iris still pretty much stayed the same. I think Bitfarms and Core stayed the same. There were just a couple of changes here in this batch over here. So I just want to point that out. All right. So that is it for the updates and Soluna. So let's take a look at the actual compensation versus revenue and see where everybody came in at. So when we look at it, where is it? Compensation revenue. So what I did here was I went through all of the miners that reported. Obviously, all of these have reported already, but I went through their spreadsheets that I've created here, and I basically pulled out their revenue, their general and administrative, along with any stock-based compensation, combined it all together to come up with the numbers here, and then just divided it to get the actual percentage of compensation that is from revenue, basically, from that. And we're just pulling the data here from revenues. we have obviously the revenue, but we're using the total revenue, not just the mining revenue for self-mining. We're including all the revenue. And then we're looking at, we're including share-based compensation, general administrative, and then something else if they also provide that looks like it should be tied into it. Some of the miners will actually have it to where it's, see if I can find it here. They'll have it under like selling general administrative expenses. They won't break it out sometimes, so it might be a little bit off on some things, but based on all the information that I do have, I try to use, like I said, general administrative, and if they had any stock-based compensation, I added into it. I think some companies are including it in their general administrative expenses, and then they're breaking it out in their actual reports further and going into details what that actually entails. Okay, so that's what we got. Let's take a look at the actual numbers here that we have. So we have Hive came in at number 1 with 9.78% of their compensation is from revenue, or 9.7% portion of that is of the revenue. DMG is 14.29, Riot is at 14.69, DigiHost is 25.03, Hut 8 is at 28, CleanSpark is at 31, Greenidge is at 35, Bitfarms is at 36, Iris is at 47, Marathon is at 50, Mawson is at 52, Core is at 55, BitDigital is at 67, Soluna is at 83%, Argo is 97% of their compensation is basically coming from revenue, and Sphere is 166%. So let's take a look at the miners individually, and I can show you guys how this has been actually growing over the couple months here, or over the quarters at least. So you can see here revenue, this is for Argo. Argo, you can see, was 22% in Q1. Q2 is 97%. I think if we scroll down here, we can take a look at it really quick. Revenues, and there we go. So over here they had share-based compensation, operating expenses, general administrative. They didn't have anything in general and administrative, but I'm guessing they put that all into operating costs and expenses. So it's kind of hard to break this one out. So that one might be not as accurate as I would have liked it to be. BitDigital came in at 49% the prior quarter, 67% this quarter. Obviously, revenues have dropped. That's contributing to it. I mean, for the most part, people have salaries and things like that. And then if they get stock-based compensation, that's usually set. Also, so that's why we're seeing a bigger chunk being taken out here. Bitfarms has grown a little bit, not that much, 34% from the prior quarter, 36% on this one. Obviously, revenue even went up a little bit, but their general administrative expenses did go up, so that was based from that. CleanSpark had 32, prior quarter 31, so a little bit of a decrease there, so that's actually not too bad. That's actually pretty good, having a decrease. Then we got Core Scientific had 20.8. They obviously had 192 million in revenue. They had 40 million in general administrative compensation. This time around they had 90 million, so I'm thinking stock-based compensation was maybe in there in this one, or more of it than they had in the past. So that basically came in at 55% for them this quarter. DigiHost was 18.73, the prior 25. This one, even though they did earn a little bit more, 7.4 million in total. DMG was 17% and 14%, so they actually went down a little bit. So that's actually a good sign there. Greenidge, if we go to Greenidge was 38, the prior quarter 35 this quarter, so pretty good there. Hive as well was 11.23%, and they were only 9.78% this time around. So that's good also. So, Hive is obviously the best one here as far as compensation is concerned. This one is Hut 8. Hut 8 was 21%, now they're 28%, but you can see revenue obviously came down a little bit, but their general administrative costs went up to 12 million. 0.2. Iris Energy we're looking at here is 47%, the prior quarter 33, the prior to the, or 47 this quarter, 33 the prior, 31, 29. So you can see that slowly going up. And we have seen it obviously be 4.1 million, 8.5 million, 6.8, 12 million, which was pretty high. So I wonder if that was a lot of share-based compensation in that one. And then we got Marathon. Marathon was 27% the prior quarter. This quarter was 50%. Obviously, their revenue was also cut in 50% almost. So that's kind of expected to that. Their costs of general administrative compensation would go up, almost double that because their revenue went down double. So that kind of makes sense. Mawson was at 35. Now they're at 52. There also went up. General administrative went up way much higher to 10.3 from 6.8. We got Riot was 13.6, 14.69 this quarter. Their general administrative stayed pretty much the same. The only thing was that revenue obviously decreased a little bit, so that balanced out there. And then we got Soluna. Let's see here, what do we got? 77% from last quarter, 83 from this one. Revenue is down, obviously, but general administrative is pretty much flat for the most part, it looks like here. They just need to get more miners installed. Sphere 3D, I don't have all the information here, but I did pull in what I just needed, and they came in at basically 16, and that is the revenues. I put in the revenues really quick just to get the numbers here for them. Selling and general administrative is 3.1, and we also had, that is at 3.1. Yeah, so obviously they're getting paid more than they are actually making revenue, so I think they're burning through cash right now, which isn't too good either. And that would be it. So just wanted to point that out to you guys. Somebody requested it, so I thought I would do it. Took me a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take me, but there it is. So another little key metric to look at the miners as far as how they're performing in compensation versus what the revenue is. And that's it. Tomorrow we'll cover the miners versus Bitcoin, see how they did for the week. Maybe not tomorrow. I'll probably do that Sunday. Possibly tomorrow I'm going to be busy, but we'll do that Sunday, and then we'll see what else happens during the weekend. We'll see if Bitcoin actually starts reversing its trend that's been bearish to possibly bullish, and we'll go from there. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out. The spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members, as always. Thank you so much to everyone there for their continued support. And that's it. Love you all. Have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.